Welcome back, guys. The round of 32 continues with 3 fascinating matchups. And while 2 of them have clear favorites on paper, none of these games will be easy. Australia takes on Egypt in what could become a tactical battle. Argentina faces tournament's surprise package, Cape Verde. While Colombia meets a dangerous Ghana side in one of the most physical matches of the knockout stage. So, let's break down each game and see who I think will advance to the round of 16. Let's get right with it. So, let's start with Australia against Egypt. Australia have quietly put together a very respectable tournament. They opened the group stage with a disciplined 1-0 victory over Turkey. They defended compactly, frustrated Turkey for most of the game, and capitalized one of the few clear chances they created. Their toughest test came against the United States, where they lost 2-0. The Americans pressed aggressively from the first minute, forcing Australia into mistakes and exposing one of Australia's biggest weaknesses. They struggle when opponents press high and deny them time on the ball. In their final group match, Australia drew 0-0 with Paraguay. It wasn't the prettiest game, but Australia didn't need to chase the win. They defended well, stayed organized, and did enough to secure qualifications. Defensively, Australia have been one of the better organized teams in this tournament. Tony Popovic has built a side that stays compact, works incredibly hard, and is comfortable playing without much possession. They don't dominate games. Instead, they wait patiently before launching quick counterattacks through players like Jordan Boss and Kusini Yengi. Now let's look at Egypt though. Egypt also reached the knockout stage unbeaten, but I think their performances have been slightly inconsistent. How? They earned a respectable draw against Belgium, beat New Zealand comfortably, then drew with Iran in a game where they struggled to create many clear opportunities. The biggest concern for Egypt is Mohamed Salah. Salah suffered a hamstring injury against Iran. And although there have been positive updates regarding his recovery, there's still uncertainty surrounding his fitness heading into this match. Even if he starts, there's no guarantee he'll be at 100%. That's a huge because Egypt's attack revolves around Salah and Omar Marmoush. And when Salah isn't fully involved, Egypt's become far less creative. And if you know, hamstrings are the key thing to make players more fast, more unpredictable. But since Salah has a hamstring injury, I don't think he will go all out. So, tactically, this should be a fascinating match. Australia are happy to defend deep, and Egypt also prefers to quick transitions rather than dominating possession. Neither sides want to overcommit too early, which could make this game a very cagey knockout game. I think Australia's defensive organization gives them a slight edge, especially if Salah isn't fully fit. So my prediction for this match is Australia 1, Egypt 0, Australia wins. And Australia advances to the round of 16. So let's head on right to the second match. So the second match of the day, we have Argentina against Cape Verde. Argentina have looked exactly like the tournament favorites. They won all 3 group matches, beating Jordan, Austria, and Algeria while showing different ways to win. Against Jordan, they dominated possession. Against Austria, they stayed patient against an aggressive press. Against Algeria, they punish every defensive mistake with ruthless finishing. What stands out isn't just their attack, it's how balanced this team is. Lionel Messi continues to control games, Julian Alvarez never stops running, Lautaro Martinez remains clinical inside the box, while Enzo Fernandez and Alexis McAllister controls the midfield. Defensively, they also looked extremely solid. Cape Verde, meanwhile, have been one of the biggest surprises of the tournament. They qualified from a difficult group with 3 draws against Spain, Uruguay, and Saudi Arabia. Now, on paper though, that's impressive for a team like that. However, I think context matters. Against Spain, goalkeeper Fonzinha produced one of the best goalkeeping performances of the entire tournament. Possibly. Spain created plenty of chances but couldn't finish them. Against Uruguay, Cape Verde looked much more vulnerable whenever Uruguay increased the tempo and sustained pressure on their defense. So while Cape Verde deserves enormous credit for their organization, I don't think they're as defensively dominant as the results alone might suggest. Now they're facing an Argentina side that's much more direct rather than Spain. Argentina doesn't just keep possession, they constantly attack the spaces between defenders. Messi drops into midfield, Alvarez runs behind, Lautaro occupies the center backs, McAllister and Enzo arrives late into the box. Those constant movements make Argentina incredibly difficult to defend. But meanwhile, Cape Verde will probably defend with everyone behind the ball and hope to frustrate Argentina for as long as possible. I actually think they'll keep the match close during the first half. But over 90 minutes, Argentina simply has too much quality for them to handle. So my prediction for this match is Argentina 2, Cape Verde 0. Argentina advances comfortably to the round of 16. So let's head on right into the third match and the last match for today's round of 32 and the last match of round of 32 as well. So finally, Colombia against Ghana. In my opinion, this is the most underrated match of the day. Colombia have quietly been one of the tournament's best teams. They beat Uzbekistan, they beat DR Congo, then they drew with Portugal in a match where they were arguably better side. Well, they were actually the better side. You could see if that goal didn't get ruled out and came extremely close to winning the group with a perfect record. So Portugal, even though they did win this time, when they played against Colombia, they actually struggled. They're aggressive, they press high, their attack through Luis Diaz and John Arias, their fullbacks constantly overlap. And even after taking the lead, they continue looking for more goals. They don't usually sit back and protect a 1-goal advantage. Defensively, they're also excellent. Richard Rios and Jefferson Lerma protect the midfield brilliantly, while Davinson Sanchez leads a very organized back line. So let's head on right to Ghana. Ghana's result looked solid on paper. A draw against England, a win over Panama, a narrow loss to Croatia. But I wasn't completely convinced by some of those performances. Against England, Ghana defended well, but England also missed several good opportunities, including a close-range chance that Harry Kane would normally finish. Ghana also had several promising counterattacks in that match. The problem, their final pass and decision-making were poor. They had opportunities to punish England but couldn't capitalize. Against Colombia, those missed opportunities become even more costly because Colombia doesn't stop attacking. If Colombia scores first, Ghana will have to push higher up in the field. That opens space for Luis Diaz, James Rodriguez, and John Arias to exploit. I think Ghana will make this physically contested. Thomas Partey, Mohamed Salisu, and Alexander Jiku will certainly make Colombia work hard. But Colombia simply have more ways to win the game. They're better in possession, more clinical in attack, and they showed against Portugal that they can compete with elite opposition. So my prediction for this match is Colombia 2, Ghana 1, Colombia wins. Colombia advances to the round of 16 with, I'd say, a pretty interesting game. Because either way could happen, but Colombia still has the higher chance to win. Well, those are my predictions for today's round of 32 matches and is the last match of round of 32. So Australia defeats Egypt, Argentina defeats Cape Verde, Colombia defeats Ghana. Do you agree with these predictions, or do you think we'll see another major upset in the knockout stage? Because everyone is talking about Cape Verde will beat Argentina. I think, yeah, they're hopes. But I mean, if you look statistically, it's quite impossible. It is still possible, but it's almost impossible if you actually look deep into it. But let me know your predictions in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more World Cup 2026 coverage, and I'll see you in the next one.